Tonight on America's Hope, we celebrate men as we approach Father's Day. This is our Father's Day special tonight on America's Hope. It starts right now. Father's Day is a critical holiday that I think men should pay attention to, especially if they're fathers, and then if their fathers are not at home. The other thing that I find important about Father's Day is that it reminds us of the role that men play in their homes. If they're husbands, if they're fathers, or if they're estranged from their family, they still have a role to play if they have children. Welcome to America's Hope. So we're talking about fathers. Father's Day is taking place on Sunday, June 16th. And for me personally, I remember it quite well because my youngest child, my son Morgan, was born on Father's Day. And it was an incredible occasion for me to celebrate fatherhood. And of course, I celebrate fatherhood with all of my three children, my daughter and my two sons. But sometimes Father's Day really leaves a vacuum in millions of children who really don't have a father. Sean Teis is someone who can talk to us about this. He's written about Father's Day and he's written about fatherhood in America. And Sean, thank you for joining us this hour. You have made fatherhood a campaign, most notably to remind America of fatherlessness in America and what we can do about that. Talk to me about it, please.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, that's my life goal is to help fatherless families, to help individuals connect with fatherless families. And so I actually grew up fatherless myself. My dad left when I was about 10 months old, and right before that, he threw me to the cops, and the cops basically told him if they had to see him again, he'd go away for a long time. So he got on a bus and went from our small town in Pennsylvania back to his hometown of Las Vegas, Nevada, and never came back. And so
Wow.
I grew up without a dad. And so it's a lifelong journey for me to help fatherless families across this country.
You know, that's a painful reminder that you have actually lived and you're using that pain to, what I would say, turn it into purpose and power, to empower men to be better and to be more aware of the important factor that exists in life, and that's fatherhood. Tell me about how you're doing that.
Well, like I said, I grew up fatherless, and I went to school to be a pastor. I thought I was going to go be a youth pastor, and that was my plan. And I had actually had mentors that poured into my life. One of them was a youth pastor, and so that's why I thought I was just going to go and do the same thing. But soon after I graduated from Bible college, I wrote a book for fatherless guys. The whole ministry started off with a book, and I thought that was just going to be the end of the journey. And then that was in 2008, and then it just turned into a whole ministry. And so we launched Life Factors Ministries then, and so since then, we've been creating resources for fatherless families. We've written about 6 books, one for fatherless girls, one for fatherless guys, one for single moms. We have children's books for fatherless children, for motherless children, and for orphan and foster care children. And we used to go around and just, speak about the issue of fatherlessness. But over the last 16 years, the ministry has just transformed into really a lot of digital resources. We have in 2017, created godismydad.com. That's a mobile app and website that we've launched to help fatherless families. It's a free app that they can download from the Apple or Google Play Store. And on there's different sections for fatherless families. They can click on the tabs for fatherless if that's their situation, or a single mom, or grandparents raising grandkids. We just launched online classes that we're doing live online classes every month for each individual. So the grandparents can have a class for themselves, fatherless or single moms. So that's some of the stuff that we're doing, but just creative ways. We actually did a national tour in 2019, 2020, and 2021. For 3 years, we traveled the country and spoke in churches all over the nation. We were at about 200 churches just speaking on the issue of fatherlessness. So we spread awareness. We create unique resources. We speak all over the place. We've done public school assemblies. We've done youth detention centers, churches, conferences, all over the place.
So explain why fatherhood is so important and why fathers need to be present in a child's life.
Well, with our ministry, we explain it with like a scale. when they have mom and dad in their life is in balance. When they have a loving, caring mom and dad, the kid's life is in balance. And you can see it. You can see how they're just functioning well. Normally if they're healthy mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, if they're healthy, their life's in balance. But then when you take mom or dad out of their life goes off balance. And that's what we've seen all around the country. We've mentored kids ourselves. We worked with a bunch of different families, churches. People contact us to consult about different situations they're facing. And these kids' lives are off balance. And so when dad's not there, he plays a really important role. And so if you think that dad's not important, he's very important to that kid's life. With girls, we see that the dad provides security. And so when the dad's not there, that girl's she's lacking security in her life. She doesn't have that dad to tell her, "Hey, I love you. I care about you. I believe in you. I'm here for you. You're my little princess. You're beautiful." She doesn't have that. And a lot of times girls then they'll pursue a man. They'll go after a boyfriend or even a man that'll take advantage of them. And we see that happening. It's why 71% of pregnant teenage girls come from fatherless homes, and because they're looking for that love and affirmation, that security that a dad provides. Boys, they, on the other hand, they feel a lot of times inferiority is the big issue that they struggle with. And that dad provides confidence to them when he's in their life. When he's not there, they have that inferiority. They have that lack of confidence because dad tells them, "Hey, you can do better. I believe in you. You can get that grade up. Hey, this is how you respect a woman. This is how you treat a woman. This is how you respect yourself. This is how you be a respectable person in society." And so all over our nation, we're seeing individuals that are being raised without that dad in their life, and then they don't respect themselves. They don't respect people. They don't respect their country. They're walking around. They're just not sure how to navigate, and they crave that. They crave that feeling of somebody to help them feel confident, to help them understand that I can be a respectable person. And so those are the things that we teach. I mean, there's so many things. There's so many statistics out there, so many studies, and we could spend hours sharing all the different studies, all the different statistics. But the two main things we've seen, like I said, is inferiority for boys and lack of insecurity for girls. And that's where dad plays a major role in these girls and guys' lives.
You were mentioning God is your dad. I mean, that for a lot of children in America without a father, how do you help them understand that they have a father that's greater than any man or woman?
Well, you show them that God will step in and help them. That's the main key. And I know that sounds sometimes people might hear that and they say, "What does that even mean?" But that term "God is my dad" just relates to so many individuals. We've taken that brand, I guess call it a brand, across the country, and people every time they see it, they're like, "Yeah, God's my dad too." "Oh, I love your shirt," or I love that slogan," because they relate to it so much because their earthly dad passed away. He's incarcerated. He's walked away. He's wherever he's at down the street. We hear so many stories of the dad that's down the street that doesn't care. But he's always there. He's everlasting. He cares about them. The Bible's filled with all kinds of different things. Psalm 68:5, a father of the fatherless and a judge of the widows is God in his holy habitation. He says, "I'll father you. I care about you. I'm here for you." And it says judge of the widows there. That's talking about being a protector, a defender of the widows in Psalm 68:5. And so he's there for single moms. And so he wants to help them on their journey. And the devil does not want the fatherless to be reached. He does not want them to be helped. And we see that the evil agendas that go on with these kids, how they're taken advantage of in so many areas, even human trafficking, and even they get pulled into to gangs, and that you see kids that are in crime. 85% of youth in prisons grew up in fatherless homes. We see all these different statistics with that, and they're just being kind of pulled into so many different evil agendas in our nation. And these kids they just want hope, and they can have transformation. They can have hope if individuals would come into their life and just show them love and show them care and just help them. I heard somebody quote one time. They said, "Every individual, every kid is one caring adult from being away from being a success story." And
Hmm.
so every single kid is one caring adult for being a success story. And we all can contribute to that and help them. But how are they going to know if we don't step up to the plate and help them out?
A father is has to be committed to serving. It's called servant leadership, and a father has to not only serve his children, but serve his wife. And if there's a divorce and it's a situation where it's estranged, he still needs to be there to serve his children. That is fundamental. And you're a father now. So, in becoming a father, You see the mistakes that your dad made not being there. And I can see it all over your face and in your passion, how you talk about it. You are there, eye to eye, nose to nose with your children to be the best dad you can be to make them or help them become the best child and adult they can become. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, it's a daily challenge to make sure that I'm involved in my kid's life, and that's what I'm trying to do. And it's one of the things growing up. What I've learned is when you don't have a dad in your life, you get to learn from a whole variety of mentors and people and see how this person was a dad. You can kind of pick and choose. And that's what I've done as a dad myself. I see this dad here and I'm like, I like how he did that, how he took them on a daddy date or how he spent time with them here, or how he discipled his kids or how he coached them. I like this. Or maybe I see this dad and I'm like, I don't want to be like that. You know what I mean? I don't want to be like that dad. And so for me, that's what it's been. I'm not perfect. Again, like I've said, but I try to be involved as a father every day and be around my kids and try to talk to them and really not be their best friend because you don't want it to be a best friend relationship when they're really young because you want to make sure you still have the ability to be their
That's right.
disciplinarian,
That's
but you
right.
can be a friend. You can still be a loving, caring father, and then eventually it'll turn into that best friendship someday. And so, if you're
Yeah.
their best friend right now, a lot of times that's going to turn into then they're going to be dependent on you in the future. Then there's going to be a lot of struggles there. So make sure that you're involved. But yeah, that's what I try to do. Then I also pray. And this is one of the things you can do if you're listening to this as your dad, as a dad, pray and ask God, God, please fill in the holes of where I'm failing as a father. And because again, we're humans, we're not perfect, but do your best, learn from others, and then pray and ask God, God, please fill in the holes and help me as I'm trying to do my best in this job.
Growing up in America and in the inner city, I saw the need for dads to be involved. And usually it was mentors who came in to help spark something in a child's heart to make them realize, oh, I can do that. I need to follow this plan. And so I say this to commend you, not to talk about me, but to commend you on what you're doing, Sean, because fatherlessness in America, it is broken. And it should be on the presidential election issue. Both men should be talking about the responsibility of fatherhood and what men can do.
That's so true. It's an epidemic in our nation. Even the U.S. Department of Human Services put out, in 1993, they put it out there that fatherless children are at dramatically greater risk of drug and alcohol abuse, mental illness, suicide, poor educational performance, teen pregnancy, and criminality. That's just, I mean, there's many things coming from this. It's affecting our nation, and people
Absolutely.
in local churches can stand up and be involved. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just find a kid that you want to help, a niece or a nephew, that kid that's in your neighborhood that the grandma's raising down the street, a single mom you work with, and decide, hey, I'm going to start pouring into this person's life, even if it's once a month, even if it's during holidays. You just start encouraging them, even Father's Day coming up, and helping them out. The
Yeah.
impact you can make in their life is just tremendous.
I appreciate you, Sean. Keep doing what you're doing. And my final question to you is, what is your hope for America?
My hope for America is to see the fatherless reached. Our whole motto is leading fatherless families to the Heavenly Father, and we all could be part of it. And I want to get Christians involved in doing that.
We're back with more in just a moment. My thanks to all the guests who appeared on tonight's program. And I want to thank you, men, wherever you are, to understand the critical role that you play in being a dad. One of the greatest things that I can recall happening in my life was to see my children being born. And then realizing one of the greatest responsibilities I would have would be my accountability to God and them to be the best dad that I can be. Hopefully, I've done that. I love my children. I love my grandchildren. I love my great grandson. Yes, I'm a great grandfather. And the role that we play as men, whether we're there 24/7 or if we're there in a distant relationship, the greatest role we can play is to always love, lead, and guide our children to be the best that they can be. Love, protect, and serve, and keep spreading hope through your children and your children's children. Love being a dad. Good night. God bless.